Hi guys, welcome to Cricut Crafting and More. Today we're going to be working on a Mother's Day card that everybody's been asking me how to assemble. I call it the Orchid card. The sentiment can be changed for many occasions, for birthdays, whatever, but this holiday happens to be Mother's Day, so I am doing it for this holiday. I'm going to set that to the side. Some of this I've pre-assembled because it is a little bit time consuming, and it's going to take you a little bit of time to put it together, and it's going to take some patience because some of these pieces are extremely tiny. I don't know if you could see that, but I went ahead and put these small ones together because they are a little tedious. What I've done on this card is I've started with my base, and I have pop dotted my, or foam square, whatever you want to call them, my panel so that I get a little bit of a three-dimensional look there as well. So once you've got those done, I very rarely peel the one in the middle. Doesn't really need it, just gives it some area to stick to. You're also going to need some glue and some markers. I'm using Cricut markers today, but you'll need a few markers. I like to use those to do my edges of my paper so that it looks a little more finished. I did not do it on this panel because it's going to be sitting next to the white anyway, and it won't show as much. Then I'll take this sentiment panel, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue around the back of it. Doesn't take much of the art glitter glue, and I get that from May Made It. You can look that up online, and I'll supply a link for you guys too on that. But it's called the art glitter glue. It does dry clear. It does not have any glitter in it. Okay, and now we have our base ready to go. Next, I like to start with the vase part of this, and I went ahead and prepared it. I've used some Nuvo drops on here, but it's not needed. This is a print and cut. You can change it out if you're having problems with your print and cut, or you just prefer a different vase. It's very easy. I have used some Copic marker around the base here to darken it up a little because it just didn't print quite dark enough for me. Okay. Let me scoot this out so you can make sure you guys can see this. And that is going to end up right about here on the card. But you can change it around and put it like you like it. I'm not going to glue it down at this moment because I want to prep some other pieces. This is the stem, so I want to make sure that it's going to line up. And that's probably what I'm going to put down first to allow me to put down the rest of this. And you can put that to an angle if you like. It's just going to depend on what you like. It's not going to go down behind the vase. The leaves are going to hide a little part there. The way I prepared the leaves is I went around them again with the Copic marker to hide the white edge. You don't have to do that, but if you like a little bit more 3D dimensional look, it helps. I'm taking my flower tool. This is the McGill set, and I'll leave a link for that as well. And I'm just going to go down the center of this leaf and do an indentation where I colored it. And there my Nuvo dots are not dry, and that's trying to stick to me. Let me move that out of the way. Once I've done that, I'm going to take the other end and kind of roll it a little bit just to give it some dimension. And then I'm going to fold it back like that, and I'm going to add a pop dot to the back of that. And this paper is the Bo Bunny double dots. I bought that whole paper pack, and I'm really liking it, so I've used it in several projects here at Mother's Day. Alright, next I did go around my stem with the Copic marker and covered those white edges as well. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on here. I sit it down, I can, looks like I've left that a little bit too long. I have some straight pins here just for that purpose. But just put a tiny bit of glue on there. And this piece is so small, this is why I use that. I usually use a makeup sponge, but I just was running out of time and didn't get one out. You don't need a lot. You don't want it to squish out. And then just about there, and we can work with it and just pat that down. And there. And I'm going to show you how I do the edges with the Copic marker. Like I said, for time's sake, I went ahead and did just about all of the pieces. I left a couple of them undone. You can do this with some Crayola markers, just anything that's close to your color. And I cut this out of craft paper, and I'm just going around the edges to give it some dimension. Just get the edges. It doesn't take much, especially with these alcohol markers. You can see I've got it all over my fingers. These pieces are so tiny. And then right there where the knots are of the bamboo, I did hit them on the front a little bit. And then you're going to want to take your bamboo piece and glue that down. And it takes very little on there. And I placed mine just to the side of it and went over the top just a little on that card, so that it gave it a little bit of area where you could see it well. And then once you have that, I'm going to be careful with this piece because it's still wet with my Nuvo drops where I decorated it. I thought it would be dry by now, but not quite. And then I'm going to place that, and I'm not going to press it down at the top yet because I want to get my leaves. I pop dotted those on the back and just a little bit of glue on the tip, and I'm going to stick that under and let the pop dot hold it, and then the same with the other. Just a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to press this piece down. The glue was already on because we're done with that area. Okay. Next, set that to the side to dry for a second. The envelope, I did put some small of the black pop dots because they don't raise up quite as much as the others. I get these at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to peel those off, and I'm going to place it right about here on the card and just press it down. And then I have my flap, and I turn this over. This is a double-sided paper, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. And there are some cut marks on this little envelope to help you line it up. And just let that stick down so that you give an appearance of an envelope without going through the tedious job of trying to fold an envelope that small. Next, we'll focus on the flowers. Like I said, I've already done some of these. This is the little bud piece. There are two of those, and I've gone ahead and glued those together just to give it some dimension, and went around those with the Copic marker as well. And then I am going to place a little bit of glue on there and add that to the end of that stem. And don't worry about where it's meeting. It won't matter. And I did mine with the dots up on this, but you can do it either way that you like. Okay, and then the flowers. The way that I did these was I took my Copic marker And like I said, I went around the edge of each piece just to hide that white area and give it a more finished look, because we are going to be rolling these with the flower tool to give them the 3D effect, and that white edge will show. You don't have to worry too much about the inside because that's going to be covered with the other pieces. And this is the biggest of the flower. It's going to be the easiest to work with, so, and the easiest to see. That's why I left it. These pieces are the same color as this, but I did color them completely to give them a extra bit of color so that they didn't blend completely in with the flowers. This piece goes in this direction. I'll turn it so that you can see that in the camera. This is the bottom, this is the top. And with this piece, this wide piece opening is the bottom of the flower. And you just need a little bit of glue. And then I just stick that down. And while it's still wet, the glue that's squished out there, just get a little bit on the top. This piece, and I kind of try to fold it a little and glue it down. Now with the smaller flowers, I used a straight pen to hold that down. We'll set that to the side to dry while we do this one. This one is finished, and all I did was take my flower tool and my mat and just rolled it. I'm giving it a little bit of pressure, and you can see it start to cup up. And it's okay that the whole thing's going to cup, because when we put it down, it'll open back up. Then I flipped it over and used a pop dot for that. Just stuck it on the back. Okay, I'm going to give that one a few more minutes to dry before I roll it. We can work on the bird. I went around the edges of this with the green marker and then a brown marker on the beak, and I put a little Nouveau drop for the eye on this one. And then I went around the gold part of the wing with the brown marker, the same one I used on the bamboo. And I'm just going to roll this a little bit with the flower tool just to give that a 3D effect. And if he rolls up too much, you can flatten him back out. It'll be okay. A little bit of glue to glue that wing down. You can glue that down, and then there's a line there for that where that wing is to be placed. And then you can just set that to the side to dry as well. We won't need it until we get to the rest of our flowers. And that last one, I'm going to take it and roll it. And I did use the bigger flower tool on this one just to make it easier. And we've got a roll on that one. And a pop dot for that as well. Then we'll get our card back over here. And the way that I did this one is we have a small one, and then they got a little bit larger than the big one, and then this one goes here. You can tell your sizes once you get them made. You'll see that. And then I'm going to start with this one here. Actually, I think I'll start with the big one just to give myself a guideline. And we're just going to press it down. And then I fold the center up, not hard, just a little bit, and then let it relax back down. Let's start with, those are about the same. This biggest one goes there, and then the next biggest one is the one that goes here where the bamboo is at. Just stick that down. And you just want to get smaller as you go down the stem. Press each one. Then I'm going to take this little one before I put that other one on, and I'm going to put it right there where that bud meets the stem. Like I said before, it won't matter if where that meets up, because we're going to cover it. And then I'm just going to adjust the flowers a little bit to open them back up. get those centers to lift up. There we go. And then the last one. And again, we're going to lift that up. Now on the other card, the one that's in the photos, I did do the Nuvo drops on the flower. I don't think I'm going to do that on this one because I kind of like the look of the dots from the paper showing more on this one. But I am going to put a bow on that. And let me grab that ribbon really quick because I forgot to bring it over. And I have trouble with bows 90% of the time, but I just take 2 loops and I pull them, and then I make them smaller and work them in until I get the size that I want. Pulling it tight. Just a little. There we go. Make that a little bit smaller. Tighten it up. That looks good. Let me grab my scissors. Well, those won't work. Those are fringe scissors. And my Cricut scissors are gummy. Usually don't use them on ribbon. Need some of those Tim Holtz that don't stick. And then you can figure right about where you want your flower. And I use just the Nuvo drops because it's the same color. And put a dab on the back. That way when it dries, nobody will really notice. And it's going to take that a few minutes to dry. It doesn't dry as fast as the other stuff. Just for the video purposes, I'm going to use some art glitter and let it sit, since that'll dry clear too. And there you have the Happy Mother's Day card. I thank you guys for joining me. I hope that you have fun putting this card together. I guess I could put the bird on there. It doesn't take much. I think we just pop dot him on. And place him, I placed him where he was going into the flower and the wing hung up a little bit. And that completes the card. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'm going to leave you the link to this at Project Primrose, as well as a direct link just in case it's not working at Primrose. I'll leave you the links for art glitter glue, for the Nuvo drops, and the other products that we use today. And you have a wonderful crafting day. Thank you for watching.